All right, I want you to check out this exchange between Charles Payne from Fox Business and Jessica Tarlov, who is a Democrat. Pretty interesting stuff. Check it out.
You know, Charles, you talked about the issues here and how immigration here is at the top, but it also is an economic issue, and it crosses all boundaries. And it is a weakness for President Biden and the Democrats. Dean Phillips talks about this on the trail, and he talks about how Democrats demean MAGA voters. He talked about it with me today, saying that, you know, it's just strange that they're talking about a group of voters like that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's narcissism. I think if it's, you've lived in New York long enough, you know it's maybe a New York thing. Someone punches you, you punch them back harder. That's the way I grew up in Harlem.
Not if the country's at stake, right?
He became president of the United States with that same personality. I don't think that, you know, listen, I think it's worse with Biden calling MAGA. Biden's anger and vitriol and hatred for MAGA is far more worse than President Trump's individual battles with someone who crosses him. That is something that is really detrimental to this country, that the President of the United States despises half of the United States. President Biden, I said earlier today, about a week ago, I had a segment coming up, so I Googled Biden hates MAGA. Nothing but articles after articles after articles. He has expressed hatred for half of the country.
Who's writing those articles?
It doesn't matter. Look
and it's
at
not.
him. Because the bottom line is he says it. He has vitriol for them. And so does MSNBC, and so does CNN, and so does the New York Times. They have vitriol for half of the nation. They don't look at them like fellow Americans, and it's unfortunate. They try to paint them as racist. All the things that they do to their fellow Americans who simply want a safe home, a safe community, for the children to have prosperity. They want the same thing, but they demean them all the time. That's why I think Phillips was so intriguing, because he went to a rally to find out for himself. And guess what? Golly, these are some pretty cool people. They're just like us.
Exactly what Jamie Dimon said this week as well. And it's.
And Charles isn't wrong about that, because you see it all the time. Biden, you know, when he's MAGA's extreme MAGA, MAGA this, MAGA that. Racist Trump supporters, you know, Hillary calling us deplorables. I've seen it all. I've heard it. I've been called names myself. You see it all the time in the New York Times and on MSNBC and CNN. It's clear that they despise Trump voters. It's clear. It's obvious. You see it every day in the way they talk about us and in the things they say directed towards Trump supporters. So let's keep going here. And I'll play that video for you shortly about Dean Phillips going to a Trump rally and what he said and what he saw.
Smart to understand. And also you see the shift that's happening, right? You look at black voters, Hispanic voters, college women, Latinos who have moved towards Trump.
Yes.
So it's no longer that people are in these boxes based on what their gender is or what they look like. They appear to want, you know, a safe country, and they appear to want a good economy, regardless of what label they have.
That's completely fine, and I know that the lines have shifted dramatically, but Joe Biden's responsible for a lot of that. You say that he's demeaned half the country. First of all, it's 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump, and he is explicit.
You see, that's the only things you can come back with. Well, it's not half the country, it's 74 million voters. He doesn't mean literally half the country, 165 million people out of 330 million people. That's not what he means. He's basically talking about half the electorate. You have half of the states roughly are red. The other half, blue states. You middle America, red states. South, red states. On the West Coast, you have blue states. East Coast, you know, up north, you have a lot of blue states. Then you have several swing states. So it's about half of the electorate. You know, these group of states are going to vote for Trump. These are going to vote for Biden or whoever's going to be the nominee. And that's what he's referring to. He's not talking about half of the population. But she knows what he's talking about. That's just the best she could come back with.
every time he talks about the MAGA movement to say that this is a subsection of the Republican Party, which is borne out in elections when you see people voting against Donald Trump. And this idea that
but what about the people
way that
voting for him?
Democrats,
What about the people voting for him? He gives teleprompter speeches. I mean, you have to understand that it's...
but he is talking about insurrectionists. Yes, he is.
No.
Why is he talking about January 6th? And he says
MAGA like it's a swear word, you know, instead of a slogan.
If you get called regularly,
he's the
which
president
Democrats
of the United
do,
States.
thugs,
He's the commander-in-chief.
pedophiles.
Why can't he call the border a crisis while he's denigrating and castigating Americans? No.
Trump calls these people communists because they are communists.
The voters are talking about that, Jessica.
But
Excuse me,
point is about demeaning voters.
The President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, went to Philadelphia a year and a half ago with a Marine posted behind him.
I saw.
And gave a decidedly political speech where he insulted a large part of the country. And I've said many times on this network, and I'll say it again tonight, if people, a lot of people, spend a fraction of the time that they spent obsessing over Donald Trump the person, learning one thing about the Trump voter, things may be very different. This is Joe Biden's version of Hillary's deplorable and irredeemable.
And here's one thing. We're going to be talking about this for many months. So we...
Well, yeah, that's what, what's his name? The CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase was talking about. Get a chance, give yourself time to know the voter themselves. Don't just tie them to Trump automatically. That it's not just binary. Trump this, you vote for Trump. That means you're a certain way. You just because you think Trump is a tyrant or whatever you want to call him, you think the voter is that way. And Trump is not a tyrant. He's not a dictator. But that's the way they paint him out to be. And so they think all Trump supporters want that or they're like that. Racist, whatever they want to call us. But here, check this out. But if you took time to get to know the Trump supporter, you see that they're actually normal people.
Primaries, and then get frustrated by the choices we have in November. That's part of the problem. We have a crisis of participation. And I got to tell you guys, I went to a Donald Trump rally a couple nights ago. Never been to one. I had an event across the street. I saw the line of people waiting in the cold for hours. And I thought, what the heck? You know, I'm going to be a leader who actually invites people, doesn't condemn them. Met probably 50 Trump people waiting in line. Every single one of them, thoughtful, hospitable, friendly. All of them so frustrated that they feel nobody's listening to them but Donald Trump. A diverse crowd, people who had never been to a Trump event before. My party is completely delusional right now. And somebody had to wake us up. And if that's my job, so be it.
You would rather, though, have Biden in the White House again than Trump in the White House, yes?
Of course.
Okay. So
absolutely.
Do you think...
Of course. I guess he likes 6 million illegal aliens trying to come across the border. I guess he's okay with that. But anyway, I went to a Trump rally in October of 2019 at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Not one person caused any trouble there that I know of. I met lots of people in line who were there for the same thing. They want to see Trump speak. They feel like he's speaking to them, he's the only person that's listening to them. And they were very proud of what he did as president up to that point. And these are complete strangers. I went by myself. These are complete strangers. We sat in line for hours. I got there about 7:30 in the morning. We didn't get into about 4:30, so it was a good 9 hours that I was there. And they were giving you snacks, offering you balls of water. People I never met were treating me like I was, a good friend of theirs or something. Everybody in line was very friendly. They were having a good time. They were out there waiting, not causing any trouble. The place was clean. They didn't destroy anything. No property was destroyed. Go inside. Everybody's getting along, having a good time. It's like a big party inside. It was fun. So if they actually took the time to get to know us, they see we're not a bunch of insurrectionists. A bunch of racists, things like that. So I thought that was very good of Charles Payne to say those things to Jessica Tarlov, and the best she had to come back with was, well, it's not half the country, it's 74 million voters. We know what he was referring to, half the electorate roughly, but anyway, we already talked about that. But yeah, I thought I'd share that with you. Charles Payne is a great guy. He's very smart, very A good business mind, making money with Charles Payne. Great show on Fox Business. But yeah, thought I'd share that with you. All right, guys, like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.